Why are you hiding your faces? And why are you coming with sticks and nails and sharp edges if you are trying to do good? And why are you so violent?
I think it's funny how you have an issue with violence, considering you have defended people who have been about domestic violence. How you talk about how fighting domestic violence is a socialist plot to undermine the man.
You're not answering my question.
At first glance, this looks like another heated debate about Antifa and political violence. But watching it from the outside, I don't think the real turning point is about who's louder or who gets the last word. It comes down to one simple question. Can political violence ever be justified? If you believe you are fighting the right people, as this debate unfolds, pay close attention to how Jesse keeps bringing the discussion back to that principle, while his opponent repeatedly shifts towards labels and broader accusations. Whether you agree with Jesse or not, there is an important debating lesson hidden in what happens next. Let's get into it.
I have with me Daryl Lamont Jenkins. He's an Antifa member and an executive director of One People's Project, an anti-racist nonprofit that monitors hate mongers and fight fascism. Daryl, good morning, sir. Thank you for being with me.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
I appreciate it. How did you become a member, and why did you become a member of Antifa?
Well, I think it's just been a case of me doing this even before we even knew the term. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years, and it's just been a case of wanting to know more about the people that hate us, and then that turned into wanting to do something about the people that hate us before they cause the kinds of divisions that they have caused in generations past. That's always been my mission.
And when you say the people that hate us, who are you referring to when you say us?
I think us as a society, not just necessarily, I mean, you might be alluding to people of color, black people. Yes, that's there. But the truth of the matter is we do have a number of people, particularly on the right, that have gone after us as a society because we are trying to evolve. We're trying to move beyond the things that we have done in the past, the things that we've been about in the past. Whether you're talking about the attacks of people of color, the attacks on women, the attacks on the LGBTQ communities, or just workers in general. I mean, I think it comes to the point where you have to say, look, we are contributing to this society as well. We're contributing to this country as well. And people who have a chip on their shoulders about their role in this society
and
need to step back a bit.
Who are the people who are attacking you guys? You people?
Well, I would say in regards to what One People's Project follows and what People's Project covers, what we do is we look at, I said earlier, particularly folks on the right. Conservatives have had an issue with certain communities and certain individuals coming up and trying to build a society for themselves, a new society, something that includes everyone. And so conservatives seem to have a problem with that. Why? That's what I've always wanted to know. If we are I've always been told that if we pull ourselves up from our bootstraps and make what we want out of our lives, we should be fine. But every time someone tries to do that isn't white, isn't Christian, isn't a male, there's an issue. Why?
So you're saying that conservatives are trying to keep the blacks, the homosexuals, the transgenders, the non-gender folks, the conservatives are trying to keep them down? Are you saying that?
I would say certain conservatives. Because we do have conservatives within One People's Project. However, you do have those hardliners out there that do, in fact, try that. Do, in fact, make it clear that's what they're doing. I mean, conservatives, these particular conservatives, literally made a federal case out of who uses what bathroom. Why do you care? It is simply somebody just going on with their lives. It's another example of just them not minding their business. Conservatives in this case.
So Obama was the one who did that. The federal government did that. Are you saying that the conservatives should be okay with walking into a bathroom at a man who or a woman who thinks that she's a man is in that bathroom with men or in the shower with men or men in shower with women because they think that they're a woman, that conservatives should just accept that without a fight, or boys who think that they're girls, they should just accept that and not fight back.
It's none of your business.
So it
It's
should
simply
be.
none of your business. If somebody is going to the bathroom, that is your most private area, and you are making it public. We've had conservatives standing outside. This happened just last year. A conservative who, by the way, is not Obama, was standing outside a bathroom door trying to determine or trying to keep people who he considered to be someone who shouldn't be going into that bathroom. We have conservatives doing that. That's what I mean. If you have an issue with it, that's your issue.
So if you,
Yes, conservatives
so
should
if you
stay down on
want,
that.
if your daughter went into a shower, and some man is in there or teenagers in there, male, who think that he's a woman but he's really a man, you would be okay with that?
If he's a woman, I'm going to call him a she. And yes, I am okay with that because as
Amazing.
long as there aren't any laws being broken, we're good.
Amazing.
She's going to the bathroom. She's going to the bathroom.
No, how about a
and
shower?
they
How about
are
the shower?
leaving.
How about the
That is the
shower?
end of it.
How about the
Huh?
shower? You okay with your daughter
Same
getting in?
thing.
I'm sorry?
Same thing.
Amazing.
I want to pause here because I think this is the first real turning point in the conversation. Notice what's happening. Jesse raises a question about whether biological men who identify as women should have access to women's private spaces like bathrooms and changing rooms. Now, whether you agree with that position or not, it's a question that many people genuinely have. But instead of engaging with the concern itself, the conversation quickly shifted towards whether asking the question is hateful or intolerant. And I think that's an important distinction because those are two different arguments. One argument asks, should those spaces have clear boundaries? The other asks, what kind of a person would support those boundaries? And this is the move that changes the board. The discussion moves away from the principles being debated and towards the motives of the person raising the concern. The only thing I notice is that Jesse keeps trying to bring back the conversation back to that simple question. What are these policies actually trying to protect? Whether it's privacy, safety, or something else. Those reasons can be debated. You can agree with them or disagree with them. But if the reasons themselves aren't being addressed, then the original question never really gets answered. Let's see where the discussion goes from here.
So there, you and who are the people that Antifa is fighting against exactly? Can you name them?
Can I name them? Well, I try to be careful not to name them just on an arbitrary level, but obviously we have a website, onepeoplesproject.com, where we have a list of rogues gallery entries of people that we have monitored over the past. And full disclosure, yourself included. We have zeroed in on you in the past because we've had issues with things that you have been about. But you're just one person. When we're talking about neo-Nazis, we were the ones that were following Richard Spencer since 2006. That's why a lot of people have started looking at us, wondering who was this character. We have gone after folks ranging from the Klan, neo-Nazis, to mainstream conservatives.
So
and
you have me on your list. Hey, Daryl, so you have me. I'm on your list, and what is it that you disagree with about me?
My issue with you in particular is I don't necessarily, not these days at least, have an issue with black conservatives, but I think in your case, I think you have spent a lot of time trying to make apologies or try to be apologists for some folks out there that have been involved in the white supremacist scene. I remember there was a video from the Prop 187 fight where Martin Francis got clocked in the head with I guess a stone or something, and you're on YouTube and arguing with this Hispanic reporter who asked if he was a racist, and he was getting upset saying, how dare you call me a racist? Here's a black man with me. Well, Martin Francis was with Voices of Citizens Together, or at least an associate. Your friend Glenn Spencer is the head of that. He is an associate of the Council of Conservative Citizens. I've seen them in conferences that were held by this group. And the Council of Conservative Citizens is a white supremacist group.
Well, we were all out there fighting. We were all out there trying to get the government to shut down the borders because of illegal aliens coming into our country and affecting the country in a negative way, especially the black community. And these people came very violent, and they were dressed in red, and they were throwing frozen Coke cans and things like that. And that was evil. Let me ask, I noticed that down in Charlottesville, Virginia, the Antifa people were having a peaceful rally. They had a permit to hold that rally. I mean, the alt-right people, I'm sorry, not Antifa, but the alt-right people were holding a peaceful rally. You guys showed up dressed in black, your faces covered, you came with weapons, and you attacked the alt-right. Was that right? Why did you show up? And didn't they have a right, whether you agree with them or not, didn't they have a right to hold a peaceful rally? They were in support of the Confederate flag. They didn't want it to come down. Didn't they have a right to protest?
Here you are defending the Nazis again. This is what I'm talking about.
I want to pause here again because Jesse makes a point that I think deserves a closer look. He's talking about the right to free speech and peaceful protest. His argument is pretty straightforward. If violence is wrong, then it should be wrong regardless of who's committing it. But instead of responding to that principle, the conversation immediately shifted to labels like Nazi and fascist. And I think that's where the debate starts to drift, because calling someone a fascist, it's a serious accusation. It's not something you can simply throw into a debate without explaining why it applies. I also noticed something else. The activist refers to Jesse as a black conservative while using those same labels. Whether that was intentional or not, it creates the impression that conservative beliefs are being treated as if they are no different from fascism itself. And this is the move that changes the board. The discussion is no longer about whether political violence can be justified. It's now about whether attaching labels can replace answering the original question. That's a very different debate. If you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more debate analysis. Now, let's get back to it.
It was them that attacked. It was them with the weapons.
That's not
them
true.
With the skills. It was them with the helmets. It was them with the military formations. And they've been harassing Charlottesville for a good 3 months now.
You're not answering my question.
The show before. The fact of the matter is, the anti-fascist groups that were there, you're
not answering my question.
Anti-fascist groups were protecting that city, protecting that town, and they were the ones that suffered a fatality.
Why?
Heather Heyer was killed by the neo-Nazis.
Why are you?
Allegedly by the neo-Nazis. I play it safe. But the truth of the matter is, when we came out there because we saw that these neo-Nazis, who you want to say have a permanent, like that's supposed to mean we can't show up, they came out there to try to intimidate Charlottesville. So we came out and said, no, you will not do that. There was no violence until you saw those people with a permit shoving clergy around, shoving people who weren't lifting a finger to them.
Daryl, why did you, if you people mean well, if you're supposed to be doing the right thing, why are you hiding your faces, and why are you coming with sticks and nails and sharp edges if you're trying to do good? And why are you so violent?
I think it's funny how you have an issue with violence, considering you have defended people who have been about domestic violence. How you talk about how fighting domestic violence is a socialist plot to undermine the man.
You're not answering my question. You're not answering my question.
I digress. You're absolutely right. I'll answer the question.
Why are you so violent?
I'm not masked up. I'm not violent. If I'm violent, it's because somebody has been violent against me. And in the case of Charlottesville, that's exactly was the case when it came to Antifa. When you saw those individuals, the National Socialist Movement and other organizations, the Traditionalist Worker Party, getting into it with people who were not being violent against them, who were simply exercising their right to speak and their free speech rights.
But you're not being honest right now.
That's what's happened. That's when things happen.
Daryl, you're not being honest. I've interviewed Richard Spencer and Bate Alaska, those guys, and I don't agree with some of the things that they're about, but they do not have a history of being violent. Antifa does.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They have a long history of being violent.
And so
Now you're not being honest.
you're not being honest, Daryl, but let me ask. There is black on black violence in urban areas around the country. Why is it that if you care about black people, Antifa is supposed to be trying to make black people's lives better, improve their lives, why don't you go into the urban areas and protect the good folks from the good black people from the bad black ones, the young people who are killing children and who are killing adults? Why not go in the black community and do something about the violence?
Well, it's funny you say that because I know a number of organizations that have been about trying to quell the violence in the inner cities. If you want to talk about that, we need. And I'll be honest with you. Let me put out this olive branch to you here. You have organizations out there.
You're talking about Antifa.
My father, anti-fascists are out there too. We live in those towns. We live in those cities. We work.
I never see you rallying in those towns. I never see you supporting police, the police in those cities.
Conservatives out there, and I'm gonna tell you something. My olive branch is this: why don't conservatives just come to those towns, come to those communities, and start helping out? And start helping out people try to quell that violence. You have ceasefire out there, for example. Daily Show, for example, just went to Chicago last week.
Daryl, calm down. You're not answering my question.
About this, I love this story. I love this commentary because
Daryl, calm down.
Conservatives need to come on board and put their money where their mouth is. Go to those communities.
Why is it that we do not see Antifa in those communities being violent toward the gang members and the drug dealers? Why don't you go in there and do that rather than chasing a pipe dream by going after white people?
Looking back at this debate, I think the biggest disagreement was never really about Antifa itself. It was about how each side approached the conversation. From my perspective, Jesse kept asking whether political violence should be condemned, no matter who's committing it. His opponents seemed more focused on labeling conservatives as Nazis or fascists than answering that direct question. And I think that's what stood out to me the most. If you are going to accuse somebody of being a fascist or defending fascism, that's a serious claim. It deserves more than just a label. It deserves an argument. And this is the move that changes the board. The debate shifted from whether violence can ever be justified to whether attaching labels is enough to dismiss someone's position altogether. Whether you agree with Jesse or not, I think the debate works best when both sides engage with each other's strongest arguments instead of assuming the worst about each other's intentions. But now, I'm interested in hearing your perspective. Did Jesse expose a contradiction or did the opponent make a stronger case? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more strategic analysis of the biggest debates online, make sure you like, subscribe, and join me for the next one. Until then, watch out for the checkmate.